Hello and welcome to Value Chain TV News Update. I am Adalbi Ogwejofor with the news. And on the news update, stakeholders at the Nigerian International Energy Summit have reaffirmed commitments to boost local energy security and position the sector for improved investments. Speaking while declaring the event opened at the State House Presidential Villa Abuja, President Ahmed Tinubu, who was represented by Minister of Information and National Orientation, noted that the decision to remove petroleum subsidy is a crucial one, but important for energy security, reliance, and sustainability of the nation's energy infrastructure and the industry's future.
Finance, as always, plays a pivotal role in driving the energy agenda. Adequate funding is crucial to support the developmental and deployment of cutting-edge technologies, infrastructure, and projects that will shape our energy future. As a nation, we must explore innovative financing models, engage with the private sector, and attract investment that will propel us towards a more resilient and diversified energy sector. The collective wisdom in this room is a powerful force, going by the collection of government, industry leaders, the academia, and civil society all coming together under the NIES 2024 platform to share insights and forge collaborations that will drive progress. I have no doubt that the discussions over the next few days will be instrumental in shaping policies and strategies that will define our energy future. I challenge each and every one of you to actively participate, engage in meaningful discussions, and contribute your expertise towards finding solutions to the complex energy challenges we all face. Together, we can navigate the new energy world order with resilience, innovation, and shared commitment to a sustainable and secure energy future for Nigeria.
In his remark, Secretary General of the African Petroleum Producers Organization, APO, Regional Chair of Africa World Energy Council, Dr. Omar Farouk Ibrahim, lamented the dilemma of the energy transition debate, which was focused on contemporary challenges instead of addressing the root causes.
As we gather here for the next few days to review the challenges facing the Nigerian and indeed African energy industry and chart a way forward, permit me to highlight some of the imminent challenges for the oil and gas industry on the African continent. Challenges brought about by the global paradigm shift away from fossil to renewable energies, euphemistically called the energy transition. These are the challenges of funding, of technology, and of markets. I should like to note that although these challenges are not completely new, they have been accentuated by the global acceptance of a paradigm shift from fossil to renewable energies. I should also like to emphasize that although environmental concerns are the ostensible reasons for the quest for energy transition, the driving ideology of energy transition is energy security. Energy security, not for you and me, but for the developed countries that use fossil fuels for over 120 years to industrialize their economies and to make the lives of their people better. In 120 years, they put in the atmosphere over 2,500 gigatons of emissions. It is these legacy emissions that are the root cause of the climate crisis we are told the world faces today. But instead of addressing the root causes of the crisis, namely the legacy emissions, we are focusing on the contemporary emissions. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Africa cannot afford to abandon the hundreds of billions of barrels of proven crude oil reserves and hundreds of trillions of standard cubic feet of gas in the name of righting wrongs committed by others, especially especially when those others are still benefiting from the wrong actions that they took at the expense of others.
The Apple Secretary General hinted that Nigeria is among 7 countries in the race for the proposed African Energy Bank planned to take off before 30th June 2024. In their separate remarks, Minister of State Petroleum Resources Oil and Minister of State Gas Development Heineken Lukobiri and Ekperikpe Ekpo acknowledged the challenge of energy security despite the abundance of energy resources in the country. Ekperikpe Ekpo assured that the Obiafo, Obricom, Oben, Obi3 pipeline shall be completed in March. On his part, the Secretary General of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, Haitham Al-Ghais, commended the president for the importance attached to the summit. Nigeria's role is of tremendous pride to OPEC from its history. Earlier, Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, stated that the company will remain an enabling facilitator to guarantee incremental production in the industry. The Secretary General of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, His Excellency Haitham Al-Ghais, has highlighted Nigeria's valuable contributions to the organization and the declaration of cooperation between the organization and Nigeria. He said this when he had an audience with President Bola Tinubu at the State House in Abuja. Al-Ghais noted that he looked forward to strengthening the relationship between Nigeria and the organization under President Tinubu's wise leadership and guidance. The Federal Executive Council, FEC, has approved the adoption of the Oro-Sanye report aimed at reducing cost of governance and implementation. This was disclosed by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, during a media briefing after the FEC meeting, which was presided over by President Bola Tinubu. Idris noted that some agencies, commissions, and departments of government would be scrapped, others to be merged, while some would be subsumed under some other MDAs, including others that will be moved under new ministries where they are supposed to perform better. The minister also explained that the adoption of the report did not mean people working in the affected agencies and departments will lose their jobs. The Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) has insisted that the federal government must meet the demands of the Nigerian workers as the primary purpose of governance is the welfare and security of citizens. President Nigeria Labour Congress Joe Ajaero said this at the National Assembly complex in Abuja during the protest carried out by the NLC. Our correspondent Kabir Lawal was there and files in the report.
This is the Nigeria Labour Congress Congress strike, which they came out in mass since about 9 o'clock in the morning to ask for their yearnings and aspirations of what they want the government to do. Let's take to street and see what people will say.
Yes, it's too much, and that is why we are here to protest and tell the government that he needs to calm down to his thinking, bring his thinking cap to put things right so that we will not suffer this suffering or bring an end to this suffering for us.
It's bad.
We are not happy.
This stubbornness leads to many things.
Especially, I would say, especially to women, because most of these things our husbands, entrust us with the responsibility of the house. You have to go to market and buy some food stuff and everything for the family. What you get today is not what you get tomorrow.
What you get in the morning.
So by the time your husband gave you some certain amount of money, which he usually does, and you go to the market and he cannot afford like half of what you used to buy, you begin to get scared. Did I lose this money or what happened?
We are here for peace. We just want them to help us. This awareness is too much all over the country. If you enter market this morning, maybe you buy something of 1,000 naira. In 3 hours later, you buy it around 1,500. Like Gari, this Gari Jebu, they are selling it 800 naira per mudu before, but now 1,600 naira. Only beans, we bought it 750, but now you are buying it 1,700 naira. And this hunger leads to many things. These ritualists that we are complaining all over, even the kidnappers, is because of this stubbornness. Many of them, they are not into it because of hunger. You know, they will mingle and they want to lead. That's what lead them. It's not that I'm supporting them. I'm not supporting them, but I believe that many of them, they have God mind, but too because of hunger.
This is actually the National Assembly of Nigeria, where is the stopping point where the NLC has actually come to agitate for their yearnings and aspirations. And some of the things they aspirated, or some of the things they mentioned that should be cautioned, is no kidnapping and rise and a high cost of living of food. For Valuchen TV, I am Kabir Lawal.
The Director General Nigeria Country Office of the African Development Bank, AFDB, Mr. Lamin Barrow, has said that the slow implementation of power reforms threaten Nigeria's energy transition and could increase the country's carbon emissions. Barrow stated this while presenting a lecture on climate change and energy transition in Nigeria at the commemoration of the third-year anniversary of a leading African environment newspaper, Nature News, which took place at the Shehu Musa Yar'Adua Hall in Abuja.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we face some barriers to address the energy transition, achieve energy security and climate action in Africa. And Nigeria's economic structure, characterized by high dependency on oil, mining, complicates efforts to decouple emissions and achieve energy security. Hence, increased susceptibility to global price fluctuations and its attendant macroeconomic imbalances. Nigeria's rapid population growth and limited poverty reduction could also drive emissions further, especially from the energy sector. With a population that has grown from 123 million in 2000 to about 210 to 15 million in 2023, Nigeria remains one of the fastest growing population-wise in the world. However, 43% of the population, estimated around 85 million people in 2021, lacked access to electricity, the largest energy access deficit in the world. Moreover, tepid economic growth over the past years will make it difficult to make a dent on poverty reduction, with over 62% of Nigerians estimated to still live in extreme poverty. The slow implementation of power sector reform threatens Nigeria's energy security and could further increase greenhouse gas emissions. Power shortages continue to exert a heavy burden on micro, small and medium scale enterprises, which are forced to use backup generation powered mainly by diesel plants that is even more polluting. In Nigeria, over 22 million gasoline generators power about 26% of all households and 30% of SMEs. And their net capacity is 8 times more than the national grid capacity.
Meanwhile, organizer of the event and publisher of Nature News, Aliyu Akoshile, highlighted the significance of focusing attention on reporting environment.
The new thing about this event, this is the third year anniversary lecture. For the first time, we are also adding the Lifetime Achievement Award, to recognize Nigerians who have done something very remarkable. And I believe by general consensus, the choice of former governor of Akwa Ibom State, the Obong Victor Atta, for that award is highly, celebrated. The other thing is the unveiling of our initiative for planting 5 billion trees in Nigeria between now and 2030. That is in furtherance of Nigeria's commitment to climate change mitigation, to reduce carbon emission, to also help generate employment for Nigerian youths, to help our biodiversity, to also help grow the wildlife and the forest.
Highlight of the event was the Hero Environmental Actions for Development HEAD Awards. Among the awardees were former Governor of Akwa Ibom State, His Excellency Obong Victor Atta, for the Lifetime Achievement Award for Sustainable Environment, Belema Oil Producing Limited for Climate Mitigation, and Dangote Cement for Environmental Sustainability, among others. Obong Victor Atta spoke on environment and climate initiatives.
Without the environment, we can't even survive. So I want to plead that we find a way of connecting the people with the hazards of the environment so that they take the environmental issues more seriously. The doctor came up here and talked about health issues. I will tell you, I was invited to go and give a paper in Port Harcourt, the Garden City. That's how we made Port Harcourt. And I went, and true enough, there were trees on the streets, but all the leaves were green, black, not green. That's because of the level of pollution that we had that turned even the leaves on the trees from being green to being black. Our environment poses a situation that should be of concern to all of us. We talked about deforestation because we didn't give the people an alternative. So deforestation continues and nobody replants. But I've heard a lot of things being proposed for the target year of 2030. One of which is to plant 1 billion trees. Is that what I heard? 5 billion trees. Now, 2030 is what, 7 years from today? That is a very tall order. But it is something that we should really try to do, because unless we do, the diesel encroachment will continue. And before we know it, we'll all suffer desertification of our environment.
Another awardee, Fonto Borofis, expressed delight over the award.
I am actually very elated. I'm not one for awards really, but being recognized by an organization like Nature News is definitely a feather in the cap of not just myself but my team in all the work that we do, and to be awarded this prestigious award on their 3rd anniversary is also very it's just heartfelt. So I think I received that award not just by my own self, but on behalf of myself and my team, who are doing all the work around the environment and trying to make the world a better and cleaner place for everybody.
The Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria, SPDC Limited, has deployed an uncrewed surface vessel, USV, for a pipeline route survey in the Niger Delta. This was disclosed in a statement by SPDC's Media Relations Manager, Abimbola Acien Nelson, noting that the USV innovation saves time and cost as well as reduces exposure to personnel and the environment. SPDC partnered with a wide range of stakeholders to deploy the technology, including the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, NNPC Upstream Investment Management Services, and the Nigerian Content Development and Management Board. The development is the first deployment of its kind and the longest of such single mission in the Shell Group. The contractor handling the $6 billion 3.9 megawatt Mambila hydropower project, Sunrise Power and Transmission Company Limited, has said that there was due process in the award of the contract. In a statement, the company's chairman, Leno Adesanya, faulted the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, for declaring him wanted. Adesanya explained that his company had no regrets about paying the medical and travel expenses of a former Minister of Power and Steel, Dr. Olu Agunloye. And that's it on the news update. I am Adalbi Ogwejofor. Thanks for staying with us.